In Toastmasters, we talk about getting out of your comfort zone. Most of that means either talking to subjects we don't normally talk about, talking to audiences we don't talk about or don't talk to, and getting out of the room we know so well. I'm going to tell you this morning about a story about Frode Uhre, a Dane who set out to ride his motorcycle around the world. This is an individual that truly lived outside his comfort zone and continues to live outside his comfort zone. September the 9th, last fall, I get a phone call. It's a Friday. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm going home in about 3.5 hours, going to the fish fry, have a few beverages. And I get this phone call. Hi, this is Rick from Cycle City. How can I help you? This is Frode Uhre from Denmark, and I'm riding around the world on my motorcycle, and it's broken down. Can you help me? Is this for real? Anyway, we talked for a little bit. We talked about his problem. He was down the road about 20 miles. Decided the best thing he could do was bring it in. We'll take a look at it. He has a chain and sprocket problem on a motorcycle. It's a fairly common thing. One problem exists with his bike. It isn't imported in this country. So that was a problem. So about 40 minutes later, Frode shows up with a car hauler, hauling his bike and all his stuff. And he unloads in the parking lot, and the adventure begins. Front to back, you will see some of Frode's stuff, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to interact with this. There is no set picture-to-picture kind of thing. Frode is there. He started his journey in April of 2015. This is September 2016, and with time out for seasons and other things, he was on his homeward leg. He had to get back to the Northeast and to the Canadian provinces before snow. And this was a small interruption. We talked about a plan. I said, I don't have the parts I need, but I could have them Tuesday. So we're Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. He should be on the road on Tuesday. He says, okay. He says, I could go back to Paris and get the parts. Turns out he's a retired airline pilot and he has flying privileges. I said, no, we'll have you on the road Tuesday, but you'll have to stay here. Can I camp? I don't have a campground. I said, I have this parking lot up there, the dirt and the crushed rock. You could camp there. Oh, that would be great, he said. So he goes up there and he puts up his little tent. Let's see if we got a picture of the tent here. Yeah, there's got to be a tent down here someplace. Puts up a picture, puts up his tent, and he comes down and he says, hey, this is really great. I didn't know that a dirt crushed rock parking lot was that great a campsite, but that was fine. Well, we're getting close to closing time, and I got thinking in terms of international hospitality, I should invite him to the fish fry. Frode, do you eat fish? Yes, of course. Why don't you come to the fish fry? We'll have something to eat, have a few adult beverages, and talk about your adventures. So he loads everything in his tent, and he's learned who to trust and where to trust. And we go up to the fish fry. He has his laptop along. He's going to show us a few pictures. Well, I figured that was the case. And the next 3 hours, I find out as Frode reveals that he is far more than this guy who's riding around the world on a motorcycle. First of all, the concept of riding around the motorcycle is a little hard to understand, but he is truly doing this. In conjunction with that, he set out to visit every country on the planet. And as of yesterday, he had visited 195 of 195 countries. he proceeded to tell me about his trip across Asia, get that one, with his son Jordan. Now Jordan must be 5, 6 years old. This was taken someplace in either Afghanistan or Mongolia. I can't tell you which, I don't read Danish. And Jordan's there, he visited with him for a short period of time, and you notice that Jordan's teddy bear is on the back. I guess everything is okay as long as you had your teddy bear along. Can you imagine what it must be like to turn around to your wife or companion and say, "See, honey, I was thinking about going on a little trip to Mongolia. Can I take Jordan along for a while?" That's a special person. Anyway, so he travels through Eastern Europe, into Asia, into China, Mongolia, Afghanistan, all those kinds of things. And we get chugging along, and he's talking about, let's see, where is that little devil here? Crossing a bridge. Yeah. You know when you want to find it, can you find it? Hell no. Anyway, there's a bridge in Eastern Asia someplace. It's a little rickety goat track bridge. He's walking across. And I said, "Where is this?" And he says, "Oh, that's a little bridge that goes from China to North Korea." Yes, you gotta be kidding me. No, you can't see it in the picture, but I'm carrying my scuba tank. Because that was the only way I could get my scuba tank into North Korea. And I wanted to dive in this particular lake. And that one's up here. And that was his Korean something or other friend. He was allowed because he was non-American, anything other than American, to have somebody come along with him and go into North Korea. This is a large non-saltwater lake, and he's probably been the only one who's ever dived in that lake. Anyway, we went along, talked about those kinds of things. He talked about a short period of time where he's driving through Tehran with his son. There it is right there. Jordan made that trip. You recognize the thing, Fuzzy?
Yes.
Yeah, sure you do. Anyway, so when we're done, he gets ready to leave on Tuesday, and I've come to realize that Frode is a different sort of person. And I just happened to see this picture right here with the penguins. And he's got his cold weather suit on, his cold dry suit, and he's obviously got penguins behind him. And I asked him, "How close can you get to the penguins?" Oh, he said, "You're not supposed to get more than 15 meters. But if they walk over to you, that's okay." He said, "This was my second dive in Antarctica." Wow. Now, Frode left Tuesday morning. I never saw him again. I followed him on Facebook. He made it to the east. He shipped his motorcycle overseas. Interestingly enough, he had about 3 more problems with that same chain and sprocket thing. Seems kind of ironic that a man who can travel the world, who's comfortable every other place, continues to have problems with his chain and his sprocket. I never did understand that. Now, what does this have to do with anything? Not very much, because Frode leads a life that few of us ever imagined. Once you figure out that he is for real, you say, "Wow, isn't this incredible?" But you know, we have a little bit of this in all of us. We have a sense of adventure. But we also have this little voice that says, "No, I shouldn't do that. That's not safe. It's too cold. It's too warm. It's too something." And I think that sometimes, whether it's speaking outside the club, whether it's doing something that maybe is just a little out of character, sometimes we need to think about this morning and ask, what would Frode do? Mr. Toastmaster.